Hi there. I'm a little under the weather, but I wanted to speak to your video because I you brought up a couple of points that um, yeah. One of my best friends is best friends from um, grade school. We've been together for about 40 years here. She married a gentleman from Jordan, and they met over in India, and they were married for decades and have three beautiful grown children. And she's also a very accomplished belly dancer, and she said they study Orientalism quite often, um, in the belly dancing classes I get. I don't know, I'm not sure, but they just make sure that they're aware of different things that they're doing. And I took some notes here of what she said because I asked her. I wanted to get her view on Orientalism and her decades of being, marinating in this culture that I know nothing about. And I asked her about Aladdin. Dr. Olson's, uh he left off with, the little blip about Disney Plus and the disclaimer and all that. And I asked Lori, I said, what how do you feel about that? And she said, well, number one, um, no Middle Easterns that I have ever come across give a flying you know what about Aladdin. There are too many other bigger problems. And she said, we like Aladdin. Aladdin's cool. It's from an old folklore tale, that that they all grew up with. And it's a fantasy world. It's magic carpets. She said, they love that Jasmine is portrayed so beautiful and curvy, as far as the belly dancing is concerned. She said she didn't have any problem with the villain having a hook nose because, we all have different characteristics in, the various places, where we're born, what we look like. So she's like, don't even play into that. Now, she said, now to speak to your point, she said, yes, Middle Eastern individuals are extremely upset with Hollywood in general because every bad guy is from the Middle East. That's troublesome for them, and rightly so. Um, we also talked about the Aladdin that came out that it was all actors. Will Smith was the genie. Anyways, a lot of people were upset that Jasmine had light skin, and Lori said, "Okay, husband's from Jordan. He has green eyes and blonde hair. She has really dark hair. She's American. And all three of her kids had light skin and green eyes and blonde hair. And she said that's it's a very common complexion over in that part of the world. She said the Middle East is made up of all kinds of different pigmentation, which I didn't know. Let's see, what other notes did she give me here? Oh, as far as Orientalism and, being sexually charged and men dominating their women and everything, she said the majority of Middle Eastern men, now she said there are some places in the world that, yes, they're still, you're my woman and you're going to do what I say. But majority of them, it is not that way. She said there are just as many dirty dogs here in the United States as there are in the Middle East. She said a majority of these men love their wives. They don't want multiple wives. They're respectful. It's, nothing like what a lot of people think as far as the domineering spouse, which, I found really interesting and comforting as well. Let's see what else she said. She said never ever has anybody ever wanted her to convert as far as her religion was concerned, or to try to make her feel as if she needed to cover up anything. She said they're so concerned with all the problems in the world in Iran right now. They're all fighting to be heard and have a democracy and get life back to where it was back in the early 70s when women ran around in miniskirts and, and they had a free market. And, there, the genocide that's going on for the Palestinians, that she was talking about. She just, nobody cares so much about, the little things, not the little things, please. I don't mean to diminish that at all, but she said nobody cares about Aladdin. We care about humanity and our rights as human beings. And I felt that was so interesting and just Such a wonderful we'd never, ever, ever talked about that before, and that's the beauty of, learning and getting an education and talking things out with people, so I just wanted to share that with you because you brought up a couple of points that she and I talked about. Good job with your review, by the way.